Brad face this time.
I had to try really hard for that. I had to make a different face than I made last weekend.
It was the same face!
No, I was a little bit more sour mouth this time.
Oh, okay, there's nuances, like Blue Steel.
Yeah, it's sort of like, oh wait, I got 3 seconds to make a face, what do I do? Or during Death of a Nation the other day when I was just... Okay, so...
So we saw Dog Days.
Mm-hmm.
It was not very good.
You seemed more... I think this might be one of the top few times, or like the among the most frustrated I'd seen you in a movie.
This movie plumb tuckered me out, man. There was a point where I actually, like, it was when they were, like, having that huge argument on camera, and I just, like, leaned forward and just rested my head on the bar.
You did it a few times.
You did it. I can't even watch this.
Because I think the most frustrated I've seen you during one of these movies, the top one would probably be 50 Shades of Black. Other than that, off the top of my head, I honestly don't know. But this one's easily in the top 3, because you were making the sitting positions that Dave and I usually make whenever we're at something. Or Dave especially. Dave will just, like, kind of just, in his seat, or he'll just kind of lean forward like this. Or you're kind of like Dave during Show Dogs, rather. Like during Show Dogs. Only difference was you weren't cursing as much during this, which is hilarious because there were kids in the theater when Dave and I saw Show Dogs.
There was a point where I, like, looked over you to see if you'd look at me, but you were just so engrossed in the movie.
I don't even remember you doing that. But there was one point when, I don't know, someone did something embarrassing and it panned over to a dog just going, "Arr!" And I looked over at you and you were just like, you had a look on your face that was sort of like if someone freeze framed the equation from Good Will Hunting and you were trying to figure it out.
Sounds about right.
This movie, here's what this movie is. Like, it's pretty much what I guessed from the trailers, where it's Gary Marshall is alive and well, apparently, and did this movie, because it is...
It was Ken Marino.
Yeah, Ken Marino made this, but, like, it's like one of those holiday Gary Marshall movies, whether it was Valentine's Day, New Year's Eve, or Mother's Day. It's that. It's Ken Marino doing this movie, along with, I mean, it's got a lot of names in this, and this movie takes place in Los Angeles, so I can only figure there are so many names in this movie is because they probably don't live far from where this movie was shot.
Yeah, he probably just sent a message to the group text, like, hey, who wants to be in this dog movie? John Gabris is like, okay, but only if I can sing the entirety of Amazing Grace.
Is that who that was?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rob Corddry is in this, Vanessa Hudgens is, Adam Pally, Thomas Lennon, David Wayne shows up as a clown. I think that was David Wayne.
Yeah, it was David Wayne.
So many people in this movie, and with Ken Marino behind the camera, I'm like, why? I understand, whenever...
It's a fucking waste of comedians, is what this movie is.
I mean, I get, like... I'm sure the cast was involved with the Gary Marshall movies for the same reason the cast is involved with this, which is we probably only showed up for a few days' work and it was filmed not far from my house. My only theory as to why Ken Marino did this movie is maybe a similar reason to why Peter Berg did Battleship, which is he really wants to do another movie, but the only way he can do a movie he wants to do is if he makes Dog Days.
I think maybe he just needed to redo his kitchen.
Or it could be that too. It's just a bunch of different sitcom plots going on. Okay, like... when we reviewed Book Club, like, that was my kind of sitcom movie. Because I'm like, this is totally a sitcom movie, but it's a sitcom movie that seems like it's at least of a show that I would watch. This is a sitcom movie of a show where I wouldn't make it past the fucking pilot.
Yeah, no.
This is Full House, but a bunch of episodes where the plot is loosely based around Comet the dog. Sort of. Like, this feels like it is 5 different sitcom pilots blended together into one movie, and everyone looked at those scripts and went, let's add a dog in there somewhere. Because for a movie that's called Dog Days that is put out there for dog people to basically be dog people porn. The dogs really don't have much character in this film. They're just
there to be fawned over.
Yeah, that's it. Like, it's like the difference between the original That Darn Cat and the That Darn Cat remake. In the original That Darn Cat, the cat is very much a character in that film. It's the best cat performance put on film. The remake, they just get some cat off the street and Christina Ricci's carrying it around for a while. That's one,
because DC was like a character in that movie.
Yeah, in the original film, absolutely.
None of these dogs were a character. They were just like, they were fucking props.
Yeah.
They're like dog props. Like, there was one dog that came close to having a personality, and that's because they put a helmet with googly eyes on it.
That was the only reason, yeah. And they're like, assuming I'm gonna think something of this dog in terms of it being a character just because it's literally doing puppy dog eyes at the camera. I mean, yeah, that's it. That's it through the movie. The rest of it is, it feels like you're watching a Lifetime movie. It is written with Lifetime movie style romances, bad sitcom style romances and misunderstandings and all this. 1 5-minute rewrite and you could have this movie take place on Christmas, and it would be a Hallmark. Sure. It would 100% be a Hallmark Christmas movie.
Well, no, it had to take place in the beginning of August because the dog days of summer.
Okay.
And the only reason I know that is because they kept cutting to that kooky weather woman.
What was that? Half the time she wasn't even looking at the camera.
The worst part of a terrible movie.
I guess she was. I don't know. You can probably, without even looking at the trailer, you could probably guess what a lot of plot lines are in this movie. There's the old grumpy guy with his dog, and the dog runs away, so he and the young kid go around looking for the dog. There's...
And they make unlikely friends.
Yeah, there's the new family. They adopt a girl, and she's very quiet, but then the dog shows up, so then she's not quiet anymore. There's... Adam Pally's got to take care of his sister and brother-in-law's dog because they've just had twins.
There's the woman who finds the Google-eyed helmet dog and helps take care of it because she wants to bang the veterinarian doctor. There's fuck, what else was there?
And then there's the geeky guy, the dude from Baywatch.
Who wanted to bang Vanessa Hudgens.
Yeah, and the guy who was who was the veterinarian in this, like
Dr. Mike.
Yeah, Dr. Mike. When like when all these women show up because he's the handsome doctor's like, ooh, we got to take our dogs. I'm like, why does this movie have a Dr. T and the women subplot to it? But this doctor, like, I'm sitting there for the first like 20 minutes, like, god damn it, he looks familiar.
I thought he was Dude Meister from Scrubs, but it wasn't him.
No, it was throwing me off because he looks a little bit like Chris Stuckman. So I'm like, is Chris in this movie? But no, he was the guy in this was the lead in The Stray, the dog movie that Dave and I went to go see. He's Jimmy Olsen from Batman v Superman for 5 seconds, and he was the lead in The Stray, this insane dog movie Dave and I went to go see last year. Was
that the Mormon one?
Yeah, and it is 1,000% more entertaining than this film. Like, this movie was just lame. Like, I got so frustrated when people showed up during the trailer for this, the trailers for this movie.
We had the whole movie theater to ourselves. We're like, all right, this is gonna be great. We're gonna be able to talk the whole way through it.
Yeah.
And then these 3 fucking girls show up, and they loved this movie. Like, you didn't stay through the credits. I stayed because I wanted to see the bloopers on the off chance that, like, some of the comedians actually got to tell some jokes in them. Sure. They did not. But when the credits were completely over, those girls in the back, they started clapping.
Yeah. I can't get mad at that here because 5 days ago I heard applause at the end of Dinesh of a Nation. So this one, all right.
Good joke you just told. I enjoyed it very much.
Oh, thank you. I really didn't have to work on my material that hard after seeing this movie. This movie got a few laughs out of me. One was Tig Notaro not giving a shit.
Yeah, she was amazing.
Like, Tig Notaro in 3 scenes, like, just deadpanning her way through this. Like, that was kind of inspiring.
It's pronounced Danielle.
That
made me laugh a little bit. And at the very end, when like the reporters. So there's like two reporters that like hate each other, but then they like each other, and then they
do because they got dogs.
And they start kissing at the big dog event at the end of the movie, and the band on stage starts playing a funk version of "Who Let the Dogs Out," and the guy's like, "Ooh, this should be our song."
Yeah, this was throwing me off because that lead singer of Adam Pally's band, I'm like, is this emo trailer girl who is finally in front of the camera?
She had a really pretty voice, and her name sounded familiar. I can't remember what it was. It was like something Jones.
Yeah.
But like she's probably an actual singer.
Oh, I'm sure, yeah. But since I don't know who emo trailer girl is, I'm just gonna put this face to it every single time. Adam Pally would get a few laughs out of me every now and then.
Mostly because of the outfits he was wearing.
And I've seen movies before with him in it where the movie's bad, but I like him, and it's kind of like when you see Jake Johnson in a bad movie. It's like once in a while, like, he's gonna throw out a line that'll make me laugh. He was in that bad, I think he was in that middle school movie Matthew and I went to go see, and I think he had a few funny lines in that. And it's kind of the same here. And one of the one of the plot lines, which I'm sitting there like, with Ken Marino behind the camera, you would think there would be some level of satire to a movie like this. Like maybe it's making fun or poking fun at certain cliches that go along with doing an ensemble movie like this. But no, it is straight up genuine. He's straight up doing a plot line where suddenly the animal shelter is gonna close down because of evil unseen lawyer on the phone. Like, what are we gonna do? We're losing our money.
We better put on a show.
We better put on a show, boys and girls. A show which looks like they should have taken the money that went into doing this show.
They like strung an enormous fucking willow tree up with fairy lights. And it's like, that shit must have cost thousands of dollars.
And that is done straight in this movie. This plot is done super serious in this thing. There's a part where I thought I missed something when I went to the bathroom. Like, one guy's dog just dies.
Yeah, the reporter guy.
Did I miss something when I went to the bathroom? Like, was there a line that said, "Oh, my dog's been sick," or something like that? Because suddenly...
No, at the very beginning, because the dog had kind of like a white old man dog face, and he's like, "Oh yeah, you know, she's getting on in years, but she's still my buddy." It's just, she's old, you know, she's an old dog.
Okay.
And then they were at the beach, and he was throwing the ball for her, and then you like cuts to her, and she's just like laying on the ground.
It still seemed like that dog just keeled over because that just needed to happen at this point in the movie. She died of plot
contrivance.
Yeah, like I got up to use the restroom about halfway into this movie, and then I was like, you know what, I'm gonna look and see what time it is. So I went out in the lobby to look at the watch, and all the employees were like off towards the box office in their group talking because there was no one else in there. And the girl's like, "Oh shit," and sees me and comes walking out as if I was gonna buy something at concessions. Like, "Oh no, I'm sorry, I'm just looking to see what time it is."
Let's see how many years I've been in watching Dog Days.
It seemed really long. Yeah. It seemed so long. Like, this movie is not worse than Show Dogs, but I would rather sit through Show Dogs. Show Dogs is going to be way higher on my worst list than this movie. I don't even know if this movie will be on my worst list. Show Dogs, definitely. But I'd rather sit through Show Dogs because I was at least fascinated by how bad Show Dogs was.
And this movie was just like thunking its way through a Gary Marshall plot. And,
yeah, like, absolutely.
Like we mentioned, there are a couple like unintentionally or intentionally funny parts, but for every part like that, there were 20 parts where like a genuinely good comedian came out and just garbage would come out of their mouth.
Right.
Like Lauren Lapkus was in this movie for no fucking reason whatsoever. Just to like be on her phone in the background. And there was lines that she'd have that were obviously intended to be funny, but it was either creepy or just boring.
Yeah. Yeah. It is like when you would see a genuinely talented comedian pop up on a random TGIF sitcom. Like, why is this happening? No, this movie was not easy to sit through.
No, it wasn't. And the fact that there was like 7 different plots entwined together. You couldn't tell how long you'd been sitting there or how much more movie there was to go. Like, there's a point, like, probably right exactly at the middle of this movie where everyone who'd been, like, coupled up and they all share, like, a coupled up moment. It's like, all right, now let's start breaking them up so they can get back together again.
Yeah.
But past that, it was just, like, a tangled mass that we were stuck in.
Every single one of them, you know how it's gonna end.
Yeah.
You know these two are gonna end up together.
You know that guy's gonna give that family his dog.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, he's gonna
Sorry,
do that.
spoiler alert.
Oh, I could tell that from the trailer. That plot line is in the trailer, and even from the trailer, I was like, I know how that's gonna end. And
I did, like, I teared up a little bit at that part, but it's mostly because the actor that was playing Walter was doing such a good job.
No, there are some performances in this that are fine, because some actors are doing their best.
Yeah.
That guy was, Adam Pally was, the news guy, I thought he was fine. Like,
yeah,
I could see
Tom or whatever his name
yeah,
was.
I could see him be charming in like another movie. I'm not sure if I've seen him in anything else, but he was fine
like
in
romantic
this.
lead.
Yeah. Other than that, if people could do these parts in their sleep. Tom Lennon could play that part in his fucking sleep.
Basically was asleep for most of the movie.
He is actually quite literally asleep through half of his scenes in this movie. And they do a 1 year later thing at the end, because I was sitting there at one point going like, okay, they're all together at this dog party in the middle of the park with a fucking backdrop in the background. I'm like, it's got to end after this scene. Everyone is together at this one party. No, it says 1 year later, where they're having conversations that seem weird to be taking place 1 year later. Like, some of it seems like this should be taking place a week later, because it probably is, because they all look exactly the fucking same.
Yep.
I don't know who to, if you watch... If you watch a lot of Lifetime movies unironically, you'll probably like this. If you watch a lot of Lifetime movies ironically, you're not gonna like this, because it never crosses over into being hilariously bad or anything like that. It's just a fucking lame movie. It's probably not as bad as like Mother's Day or I wasn't at New Year's Eve, but Brian and Jared were. I said to you on the way out, like, I wish this fucking thing came out 3 or 4 years ago, so, like, Jared and Brian would have been at this movie.
Because, I like a romantic comedy, but I like them when they're executed well, or when they're, like, so unassuming that they could just, like, flow over the top of my brain, and then it's just done. And like, oh, yeah, they're kissing now. But this was just... plotting.
This was cynical garbage.
Yeah.
It was cynical fucking garbage that has no business being on the big screen.
Nope.
At all. I'll stick with my cat version of this, which is Stephen King's Cat's Eye. There's no scene in this where a dog fights a troll.
Should we do trailers?
Yeah.
We've gotten all these trailers already, and there are only 5 of them.
Oh, right on.
We got Dumbo, which this is before everyone showed up, so we're just, like, loudly talking about Dumbo while the trailer was going on.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like Timothy the Mouse is even in this fucking movie. It's been replaced by, like, a horde of children. And you can't really tell if the animals are talking, which if they're not, it's gonna make me a little sad, because Dumbo's supposed to talk.
Dumbo doesn't talk. He does I think he did on the live action series from the 80s, Dumbo
Shit, you're
Circus.
right. What am I thinking of? His mama talks.
Yeah. All the other animals
and
do.
those
other
bitch
elephants? Yeah. Dumbo? You mean Dumbo? Like, yeah, I'm honestly, like, you know what? If it turns out some animals talk in this movie, fine. But from this trailer alone, I don't really have a problem with it. Because, again, at least that means it's doing something different. And, you know, that could still be the case even if they talk. But one thing I do like about this trailer, though, I think the movie looks really fucking good.
That pink elephant looks amazing.
Yeah. It's one of the few trailers where I'm actually fine with emo trailer girl cover. Because it's
like the saddest song in creation, first of all.
Yeah, and it's actually a song from the movie, from Dumbo. So I'm like, okay, that's fine. And tonally it works in the trailer for this movie.
Yeah.
No, I'm really excited for that film.
Bumblebee, which we called it. We were like,
yeah.
We thought we'd get Axel. We didn't get Axel.
Surprisingly, we didn't.
But we got Bumblebee, and we got Alpha.
Yeah,
which is apparently coming out in August, although we'll see.
Yeah, we don't know if it's August 2018 yet.
August 2024.
We got The Grinch, which that's when I went up to go use the restroom.
You just straight up left, but that's fine because it's the same preview again.
And then Smallfoot, which is the one movie that I think I've seen that trailer for longer than I've seen the trailer for Alpha. Mm-hmm. I mean, at least I'm getting different versions of the Smallfoot trailer.
Smallfoot looks more entertaining than Alpha does.
It does. Boring. It does. Honestly, I think Smallfoot looks fine. I'm just like, is this movie going to get... Why is it taking this movie so long to come out?
You have to get the feet just right.
Yeah, that's true. It is in the title. All right, well...
So you're going to go see what?
I'm going to go see The Meg.
Ah, lucky.
I was telling you outside, I hope it's just like the movie we just saw. It's an ensemble of rom-com shit.
Bunch of people having romantic comedies while a shark just kind of sits there making faces to the camera.
Yeah. Sharks open up their stomachs to us.
Watching them on the TV.
Hope it's exactly like this fucking movie. All right, I'll see you then, guys.
Bye, guys.